Hey, welcome back to the channel. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel and like this video and comment down below. Go ahead, let me know where y'all from and who you a fan of, man. Y'all a fan of Young Dolph? Let me know down in the comment section. Let's get right into this. So a lot of people are asking questions. A lot of people want to know. Everybody's wondering one thing. How did they get Dolph's cars to pop up at all them places that you've been seeing it? It's like we didn't really see Dolph's cars for the longest time, and then now all of a sudden, every single one of them is out. So it gets people wondering, and people are asking now. It's like, okay, so does Dolph family actually have all this stuff? Because a lot of people believe everything should have went to Dolph family. It should have went to the kids, Trey, or even his dad, his parents, and everything like that. Somebody that knew what was going on got in the way and found the way to finesse it so they could keep all the Dolph's cars. Like they done found, like whoever they sold it to for the 2 million or whatever like that, somebody kind of jumped in the middle and probably stopped the transaction from happening, and then found a way to where they were able to own all of it. Like somebody pretty much, it had to have been somebody close to the fam, you know, because they're not just going to give the cars away to random strangers. But the way we see it popping up, and they're doing burnouts in it, and they're doing like all sorts of crazy stuff instead of preserving it. And so it gets people wondering, but it's like, aren't they supposed to be using that as part of the evidence? Like, why do they even have the Corvette out there? Everybody should know by now that Dolph was driving in that Corvette that had the, the whole blue line on it and everything like that. It was camoed out with the Dolphin logo and everything. And so why is it like that car wasn't kept in as evidence at first of all? We never even seen the video of Dolph actually driving that car. So it's like, it's not actually 100% sure that he actually even drove that car that day. He could have, that car could have been parked somewhere, but we don't have no type of thing other than the gas station, which was 2 days before or the day before, where he's in the yellow shirt hopping in the whip. But we don't see him driving that same car pulling up into the Makita's parking lot. It just happened to be there. And then the fact that now the car not even being used as evidence or kept in to like investigate even more, basically, I guess they're done with the whole process of that, and they must have let the car go. Or it might not have even ever made it to the evidence. They could have held that back and said, no, this isn't part of it. Everything happened inside the store, remember? And so if they say like, oh, it happened inside the store, so now we don't have to use the car as evidence, and so they just gave the car away to somebody and they was able to finesse it. And pretty much because of the fact that since Dolph left his car parked in that parking lot, when they towed it, they actually impounded it and everything, and nobody came to pay the fee for having it towed. So they ended up auctioning it off, and that's how one of the people ended up with it, because one of the people who flipped cars in Memphis went to the car auction and they actually seen and bid on it. And it was one of them days where nobody even showed up. So they go and they're like, wait, nobody's here, and I get to be the only person that bets on the Dolph thing. It was basically like an inside play where people already knew that it was going to be there, so all they had to do was show up, and they told everybody else that there wasn't even going to be an auction that day, because they were trying to win Dolph's car, basically, because if they have Dolph's car, they're going to get clout off of it. They're going to be able to do all sorts of things. People are going to come to them. They're going to want to use the car in movies. They're going to want to use the car in documentaries. So somebody, just by having that car alone, is basically a finesse that they pulled, because of the fact that it's going to be so much interest on like the car, and people going to want to look at it, and people going to want to be like, so this is where Dolph was sitting at like moments before he went inside that cookie shop and everything went down. And they want to know, like, you know, especially with the footage that's inside the Corvette. That's another thing. If we can't see the footage of the actual cookie store and Dolph actually driving in there, walking in, opening the door, getting in, actually like ordering, because you would be able to see that all from the car, because the windows aren't tinted for the cookie shop. So you could see from in the Corvette, you could see through the windows inside the cookie shop. And so the cameras that are on the Corvette, the dash cam, the bumper cam, and the pillar cam, and the windshield camera, you will be able to actually go back and look and rewind and see everything that's going on, because the way that the car was parked, it was actually parked facing towards the store. And normally when Dolph pulls in his whips, he backs it in. See, that's the thing, is that the last time when he drove the white truck, he pulled up because he was being low key in the white truck. Nobody really knew he had the white truck like that. It looked like a city worker truck. And then he backed it in. So normally when he goes places, when he goes to that specific place, he normally backs the car in. So what made it to where the car wasn't backed in this time? Was he even driving that car? Could it have been somebody else? Because anytime Dolph was driving one of his cars, he always parks it in because he has rear wheel drive and he sometimes doesn't ride with no tags on. So he's not trying to get towed, because if he's got a rear wheel drive car and he backs it in, then it's hard to get towed because of the fact that they're going to have to pull the car out on dollies and flip it all the way around to get it to fit on the type of truck that they got, like the type of tow truck. It could be a flatbed, it could be the one that picks it up like from the front or from the back, and all sorts of stuff. So now, not only that, but the fact that this whole situation is basically like, okay, so yeah, we don't know if he actually drove up to it himself. It could have been somebody, because of the fact too, you got to look at the picture of where the vehicle was in relation to the whole store. If you look at it closely, the car was kind of like not all the way in the parking spot. There was a lot of room between that front curb and the front of the car. And so it could have been because, they didn't want to mess up the bumper. Maybe the car is really low. But when the combination of the fact that it wasn't backed in, and, the way that they parked it and how they didn't even pull all the way forward, it's almost as if it was a completely different driver this time and not Dolph. There's too many differences in this type of parking situation for somebody to be like, okay, that's not Dolph. No, it's like, you can't really say Dolph parked it there because you ain't seen him park it there. So that's the thing. But then when you look at the facts and the evidence and everything that's out there in plain sight, you will go to see that that's not even the way Dolph parks. And if Dolph was to park and pulling forward like that, he would pull in a little bit further because he has sensors that tell him if he's going to hit something or not. And so that's the crazy thing, is it seemed like it was somebody else that really wasn't like they was kind of like scared to drive and scared to get a scratch. So the way that they pulled up in the parking spot, you could tell that they don't actually drive that car that much because they didn't even know how to properly park it correctly. And so anybody that, if it's your car, you would know how to park it correctly. You would know how to back it in and everything like Dolph normally does. But this time, it's all messed up. It's all different, as if it was a completely different person. And so, that's one thing that people are talking about. And another thing is that, was the chrome heart bag, was that ever returned back? Because you seen the picture of the dude who was taking the chrome heart bag out of the trunk of Dolph's car. And that has over $100,000 in it. And that should have been gave back to Dolph's family too. And a lot of people are saying all the GoFundMes, all of the donations that came in from like random other people who started creating donations for Dolph, and then they should have made sure to send that to the family and everything like that, And even the proceeds from them selling the Dolph cookies, it's like, whatever happened to that? That's really why Key Glock wants to make sure to keep an eye on them, because of the fact that at the cookie shop, they were selling Dolph cookies and there was no info, no update on whether those proceeds was actually going to Dolph's direct family, or was it just another marketing technique to be able to make money for that business. And so, a lot of people are saying that, any and anything bread that was made around donations, around selling something, tickets, even like the Dolph Museum and everything like that, because they're going to charge an entry fee or something like that, right? And so all of that has to go back because to Dolph's family, to Dolph kid, his all the people that was basically actually supporting him, part of his family, who, that he was paying their bills, paying their rent, taking care of a lot of stuff. And not only that, but Grove Hero, he did his food truck thing, and he was giving the bread back to the Dolph family. And so, that's why we want to make sure that it's like that same situation. Grove Hero should be updating and everything, trying to make sure that everything was going swell and that people was actually giving back, and not just trying to like finesse off of that, right? And not only that, but the fact that it was so many other things like his chains, the PRE chains. It's still a couple PRE chains out there. It's still one of the Cartier watches from Dolph that we still haven't seen yet to this day. And, you know, as far as we know, the last time we heard about it, somebody said they seen 901 Trigger Trade wearing Dolph's chain in the Mall of America. And so that was like probably right before the summer, and so they never got that back. And so the fact that it's still somebody out there, allegedly it could be 901 Trigger Trade, it could be somebody else, but ultimately somebody's got Dolph's Cartier watch that, you know, it's like worth 20. You could buy it for 20,000, but the type of diamonds he had in it made it worth 90,000. And so he didn't just get the regular SI diamonds. He actually got flawless diamonds in the Cartier skeleton watch. So that way it made the value go from 20,000 to 90,000. And then the chains, they were at least one of them, that big PRE chain, the same one. It's actually the original to the replica that Daddy-O has. Daddy-O got one of the ones, but that's not the main one. The main one was the one that Dolph had on him, and that one's worth at least over 100K. It's actually, I don't think they ever got the valuation done in time before Dolph went, but basically it's a big ticket item. And so there's like, over $200,000 to $300,000 worth of chains missing in jewelry from Dolph. And so people still looking for that. People still trying to figure out whatever happened to that. And so the thing is that's why all them chain snatches was happening, is because Dolph's actual chains were missing. And the fact that nobody returned them, people thought that they had to go and get it on their own. Like they had to go and, go chain for chain. If Dolph's chain's missing, then some other people's chains are going to end up missing too. So make sure y'all subscribe to the channel. A lot of details coming in, so stay tuned. Like this video, comment down below. Let me know where y'all from and who you a fan of. I'm going to catch you on the next one. Peace.